Hi guys, it's Aeryn. I'm going to try and film a room tour, and I've done my meds a long time ago. I've eaten, so I'm probably still going to cough, but I'm hopefully not going to shake so much. So, you know, if I have to cough and put you down and start a new part of the video, then, you know, just be prepared for that. But I'll do the best I can, and this is about as attractive as I get, so hi, there's a face-to-face for you. And yeah, let's get started. So this is my space. I'm gonna try and pan out as much as I can. It's a 6 foot by 6 foot corner of my kitchen. That is the front yard out that window. And wow, I made it a whole 48 seconds before coughing at you. Sorry. Just kind of have to accept it. But yeah, and that window there, I don't usually open it, but there's a neighbor and then there's another neighbor, and then the neighbor between us, there's nobody there, but the guy in the house that I can actually see is he lives there. So anyway, so this is my space. There's my computer under there. The kids' beds are usually here, so you can see Gambit in her bed. Sirius, get in the camera. Go in your bed. Go in your bed, Siri. There's Siri. He says hi. So he might annoy us from time to time, but he's promised so far to be good. So yeah, this is my space, and I try and keep this desk just for computer stuff, and I have my medical stuff over there by Sam, the teddy bear, and so those are my monitors, my gaming mouse, my gaming keyboard, and you can see on the walls, Mike and I just Sunday. The pictures, the actual just photos were there, you know, my favorite TV couples, but the other stuff is, that's all my work. Everything on that wall is my own work, except for the butterfly was hand beaded by my friend Peggy. She did that for me. I don't want to get in too close, but you can see it there. And those buttons I got from an artist at Comic-Con a couple years ago, so those I didn't do. And then over here, I'll try and move that. I probably don't need the light. You can see, well, yeah, I guess I do. Over here on this wall is art that I have not done. The one on the far right is Karen Hallian's work, and we've got Sarah Burrier, I think, something like that. The wolves are Katie Lipscomb. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. But she signed those, and you know, follow her on Instagram because she's really good. And they're just prints. I couldn't afford the originals, but they are very nice. And the one in the center is from a gal named Mia in Prague. I met her on DeviantArt, and we did an art trade, so I made something for her, and that's her artwork there. It's a little wolf doing howling fire kind of thing. It's pretty cool. So I thought it went well with the wolves. Well, actually Mike did. He's the one that came up with this whole setup there. And the tree is actually done by my father for my 30th birthday. I believe there are 30 birds. If there are not 30 birds, or 31, I think they do the whole one extra for luck thing. If there are not, that means some of the birds have escaped. I know at least 2 have fallen off as I was trying desperately to clean them. But yeah, so he folded all of those. He made the actual branches on this tree here. So I'll go in a little. I hope I'm not shaking too much for you guys. It's really hard for me to breathe. So yeah, he folded all of these little birds, and I'm going to turn the light back on. And twisted the vines that the tree is on, and so that was my present for my 30th birthday. It was kind of momentous because as a person with cystic fibrosis, you know, they give you a death date or they give you a life expectancy or whatever, and 30 was mine. So the fact that I'm going to be 34 June 24th is pretty amazing. I hope that's not too much coughing for you. And this one is my toy shelf. So I've got, in the back, I've got some of the collector's cups, the Starbucks collector's cups, but the Disney ones. I've got an Elder Scrolls Online pop figure. I've got a Skyrim pop figure. Those guys are from Kung Fu Panda. We've got DreamWorks How to Train Your Dragon, Rick and Daryl, who you probably see quite often. The two larger ones here, these are my characters from, well, not this one is my character, from Fallout 4, and these guys in the front. This is Riven and Dayla, mine and Mike's characters from Elder Scrolls Online. I had those custom made, but I haven't painted them yet, so I have to do that. And that's McCready. He's also he was on my he's also in Fallout 4, but he was on my wallpaper for my computer, so you'll see him again. And we've got the 10th Doctor and Jack Harkness from Doctor Who, and we've got Castiel, Sam, and Dean from Supernatural. So those are my pop figures and my toy shelf. And then this Mike made for me out of some of my scrapbook paper, and I have to put that on a canvas at some point and put it on the wall, just so that it has a more prominent thing. But you know, I was making sure none of this stuff was dusty for you guys, so that's it got moved a little. And here's the newest addition to my stuff, is my coloring book collection. This is all I have right now. It's 70 books, I believe. Something like that. I think I have one in the mail, so there's probably going to be more. I moved my chair too far away. I almost fell over. Here. Give me a second. I'll get my chair. So yeah, it goes all the way over there, so you can see the whole scope of it. I started coloring in coloring books in October of 2016. If you watch my channel enough, I've talked about it enough, but our 10-year-old dog, Vigo, he passed away September 3rd, 2016, and both of us just kind of lost interest in pretty much everything. And while I didn't want to do paper crafts, I still wanted to art, but I didn't want to have to think too much about it, like, you know, drawing my own stuff or anything like that. So I thought coloring books would be a good outlet, and yeah, obviously that has flourished quite a bit. The pride and joy of my collection is my Copic shelves with all 358 Copics, and I also have all of the distress crayons on there. I have all the distress markers. I have all the Zig Kuretake Clean Color Real Brush markers on there. I have the they're a new addition. They're the, what's her name, Jane Davenport mermaid markers. I have a couple of random pens. I have some pens that my mother gave me for Christmas this year. So it's all basically just coloring material of as many things as I could. Oh, I also have the 84 set of Neocolor 2s over there. And I have what was at the time, I don't know if they added more, but all of the Art Alchemy Finnabair acrylic paint, which is metallic finish. So I have that as well over there. And in the corner here, you probably saw, but the little gray one in the front is all of my polychromos. The one behind it is all of my Pablos. Both are the 120 sets. And the next one is the, let's see, it says Prisma and Inktense. So both of those are the 72 sets. Excuse me. And in the next one is the Faber-Castell Abrec Dur. I'm not German, so I don't know how to say it properly. Those are the 120 watercolor sets. And also I have 40 of the Caran d'Ache Museum watercolor pencils. Those are equivalent to their luminance, but I don't have those, so it's kind of, they just go with my Pablos as best they can. And in that other case there is my, what do you call it, the Wacom Cintiq, the third screen that you can write on, that kind of thing. Well, it would be 3 because I have 2 screens here, but yeah, the screen that you can write on, basically. And so I guess we can move into the drawers. I should actually stop and breathe, so give me a second. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, like I said, it's kind of unavoidable. So anyway, this is the Alex drawer that is next to my desk on my right-hand side, and I am right-handed, so I try to put the most used and most useful things in that drawer there. I'm going to slide Gambit's bed out of the way. She may notice, she may not care. She is my 14-year-old tabby. She's not well, so she may or may not be with us very much longer. But for now, this is where she sits and what she enjoys. So that's her sleeping in her bed. That's pretty much the extent of what she does. But, you know, cats pretty much do that anyway. So, yeah. And then there's Sirius in his bed next to her. So they usually hang out here. Sirius is probably going to run away as I move these drawers. But Anyway, you got to have your most used tools where you can get to them easily. So this is my 4x6 guillotine cutter by Tonic, which I use for everything. This is my, what do we call it, the ATG tape runner, which, you know, I have a crap ton of the glue still, so that's very well loved. And I did spray paint it purple, but it's been several years, so it's starting to come off. And I've got a bunch of ink pads, you know, the archival. I find myself using that constantly now with art journaling and everything. And in the next drawer, if you've seen any of my tours, this is everybody's favorite drawer. This is the enamel dot drawer. I haven't been scrapbooking as much because, you know, as I said, with Vigo passing away, the photos without him in them are depressing, and the photos with him in them are depressing because he's not here. So it's very hard for me to find motivation to do that. So I've been trying to use these more in my mixed media art instead, so that they do get used. But, you know, one of the reasons that I wanted such a big stash was that I didn't have to worry about running out. So obviously with this many and this many color choices and all of that stuff, I really don't have to worry about that. And the rest in here is just postage. You've got some extra pens, some multi-liners, some Faber-Castell liners. This is the corner chompers. I've got 2 of those just in case I need that on my cards. I've got a personalized AK stamp for Aeryn Kelly that I can put on cards and everything. This one, I'm going to stop saying I am so sorry. I can't breathe and I keep saying This video is great, right guys? So this is the kind of catch-all drawer. Everybody really needs one of those in their life, I think, because there's just so many random little bits that you want to have, but it doesn't need an entire drawer, and this is mine. So we've got, you know, doilies, we've got things, I've got chipboard stuff from Make It Crafty when I was DT with them. I've got things that are left over from kits. You know, if you follow my channel, I used to belong to 2 different kit companies for Project Life. I don't do that anymore, but I still have some of the stuff. And we've got, these are the washi tape strips from Simple Stories. I've got a bunch of those. I've got stickers, you know, dimensional kinds. I've got letter stickers, which I should probably just get rid of because I never use them. I've got things that I have drawn that can go on art projects. I've got chipboard stuff. Got Gambit trying to escape. There she goes. See, she doesn't walk so good anymore, but she's doing her best. I've got tons and tons of flowers. If you don't know, Prima is in Chino, California, which isn't close to me, but it's not far away. It's like, I don't know, an hour down the hill, an hour to Chino, that kind of thing. So when they had their warehouse sale before, I guess they moved or closed or something, but they had a couple warehouse sales, and I did post it on my blog and my Instagram somewhere. But I just bought a ton of stuff because it was all $1. And that's why you have this bin of, this is all white stuff that can be, what do you call it, you know, sprayed or painted or anything like that. So I didn't have to worry about what the color was because I could just match the color. And so I got a bunch of these bucket things and just different kinds of, you know, anything that would look useful. So that's what I got. Let's see, what else we got? Okay, so this is the punch and cutting type drawer. These are all, you know, Thinlit dies or Spellbinders dies and that kind of thing. I just put them in little CD cases. And I got, this is a fridge bins, one of those fridge bins things. I had to order them on Amazon because we can't get anything here. So I had to order them on Amazon and just guess the sizes. And so I have a couple of these and I just kind of put whatever could possibly fit in them. And so these are my embossing powders. I pretty much only have black and white except for the few, like this was on clearance one time. So I got like a color or one other color, but mostly it's silver, black, and white that I have for embossing powder. And those are punches that I use most often. If you watch some of my really, really earlier videos for scrapbooking. Oh, great, Gambit. Nice. She's knocking stuff over. If you watch my earlier scrapbooking videos, you can see me use these punches a lot just because I was trying to get them incorporated into my scrapbooking. Just calm down. She just knocked something over. It's fine. It's fine. She has to jump up on her cat toy to get her food, so sometimes she misses and falls. These are my embossing folders. Again, I don't use them a whole ton because I don't scrapbook much anymore. But, you know, they're really cool to do to die cut, so I was thinking maybe doing that. I hope I'm not yelling at you. I'm really close to the camera. I'm not used to that. And then this is also everybody's favorite. This is the flower drawer. And I have them sorted as much as I could between, you've got red, orange, and yellow there. You've got purple and pink, blue and green, and then black, brown, and silver, and white. Or, well, no, because the whites are in there. And then I've got some leaves that go with it. So those were all, again, they came in multiple packs with the, you know, big old sale at Prima. So that's what happened with that. And then next to it, I have what I call my art cart. And normally, I don't really want to swing this around too much, but normally it goes over here. Normally it sits over here next to my desk so that I can be at my desk and it sits right next to me. And you can see all of the things on it. I've got paints up on this top shelf. Sorry. This isn't going great. I am so sorry. There's only so much I can do, right? So anyway, I've got the Americana paints from Hobby Lobby. I just got them like last week on Wednesday. So they're very new. And I got them because I gave my girlfriend the distress paints because they just were not performing the way that I wanted them to for my art. I'm not saying they're a bad product. I'm not saying don't use them. I'm just saying for my art, they didn't do what I wanted them to do. And that's why you have a supply, right? Is it does what you want it to do, or it doesn't. So yeah, I passed those on to my girlfriend, and I was able to fill this spot with different things. And so far, they are doing what I want them to do. So we'll see. You know, I have, you can see the space here. Like I said, it's 6 feet by 6 feet, and the actual craft desk is only 4 feet long. So to be able to do what I want to do, I have to have only things that work for me and that I use constantly, or, you know, that there's just no room for extra stuff. So, anyway, in here we've got tags. I've got tags that I've used. I've got tags that I haven't used. I've got pieces of packaging. I've got chipboard from, you know, boxes and stuff like that. I've got more packaging that I can do art on the back of, which I've done before. I've got all different kinds of mixed media paper and stuff. Back here I've got some ephemera packs that I've gotten, you know, the few things that you can buy off of Amazon. I've got the small talk chit chat stuff. I've got some of his more recent words. I've got some rub-ons. And I've got, yeah, those are all the rub-ons. I've got some silver paper that's sticky on the back and like you can die cut it and stuff like that. I've got my We Are Memory Keepers precision press, which can no longer be sold in the US, but I have one now, so I don't care. I've got some acrylic gesso. I use a lot of it, so I have a big one. I have matte medium. I have clear gesso, because I like gesso. I have some airbrush medium to thin out my acrylics. I have my dog going crazy for no reason. Children, can you behave? Thank you. I have a big thing of black and white apple barrel acrylic paint, just in case I need that. Sirius, please, go over there. Go. I'm sorry you can't breathe. Just calm down. He has a collapsed trachea, so whenever he has water, then he ends up not being able to breathe. So then he comes to me coughing, like, I can't give you CPR. I'm sorry, you're a dog. That's not what CPR is for, not just because you're, you know, coughing. Okay, so in the second thing, I'm going to try and get some light over here for you. This space, like, just because I have the windows, it's actually, we're in San Bernardino National Forest up here in Big Bear, so you get shaded light most of the places. And so, you know, I get really good morning light, but I'm not always awake in the morning, so I have to make sure that all the lights are on all the time to even get half of the stuff that I need. Sirius, get out of the way. Good boy. He's also my service dog, in case anybody didn't know that. He's my cystic fibrosis service dog, and he needs attention, apparently. There, say hi to the people. They don't care, but say hi. Okay, now go away. I'm trying to do something. So, Anyway, I'm going to stop saying I swear. What I have in here is all sorts of mediums and gels. So I've got glass bead glitter gel. And this was bought before I realized how overpriced Faber-Castell's gels and stuff are, because their proprietary stuff is not necessary. It's the same thing with the texture paste. I really do like, not this one. I see, the thing is platinum. Platinum is supposed to mean a silverish type color, and this is white. This is like totally cream pure white, so they mislabeled that. And so that's why I also have the antique silver, which came out later, because I wanted silver, not white. So yeah, there's that I was pretty ticked off about. They have, I have silver texture luxe paste. I have, what's this one? I have another white one. These are actually really small and they're very expensive for what they are, so I don't suggest them. This is the texture paste from Ranger, which I actually do really like. You use it through a stencil and it adds a really great resist to things. I've got the traditional Liquitex Heavy Gloss Gel. I've got Dorland's Wax Medium, which you use to seal things that you want water resistant, like Distress Inks that will seal it. It's basically that Ranger sealing wax stuff, except this is cheaper and you get a bigger size. So, yeah. Does all the same stuff that you've heard of, but cheaper and a bigger size. This is Black Lava Gel, which is super cool. It's a clear gel with like this weird black glitter stuff in it, and it's super neat. So I got one of those. You don't necessarily need that one that big, but that's what I got. The Distress Collage Medium, the Crazing, this I definitely recommend paying the premium Ranger price for, versus, you know, Liquitex or whatever. Because this stuff is awesome. I love this stuff. I don't know if Liquitex or Golden makes them, but this one particularly, the Crazing, I love Crazing. It's awesome. It's like, if you haven't heard about it, what's it like? It's like that, like when you make acrylic, not acrylic, what do you call it? Like when you fire clay and you put that glazing stuff on it that's like paint and everything, and it does that weird crackly stuff, but it's under, so it's not like it's gonna flake off. That's what that gel stuff does. So this is more paints. This is more of this stuff. And I bought these as a sample pack because it was 32 colors for 10 bucks, and I didn't know which colors I would want to use and if I would have the space for the variety, so I bought that weeks before I had the space to do this. So I have way more colors, which is good. These are my Distress paints, which I actually do really love. They have no texture to them, which is one of the reasons I love them. They do all the things that the ink does, practically all the things that the ink does, except they will be permanent when they're done. So you can spray with them, you can do backgrounds with them, you can do all of that stuff, you can water them down and, you know, do whatever you want. And then when they dry, they're not going to move. And that's what I appreciate. I also have Distress stains, so all of these little caps back here are Distress stains. I don't have them as organized as I could, but that's what's back here. I have both sizes of the art stones. I have the mini art stones that are super small, and then I've got the art stones that you can actually see the size of. And these are cool for putting in your mediums or coloring with different things and then putting on canvases. And in here I have the Metallic Accents watercolor things. They're not great as far as watercolor goes, but if you want shiny color, they're pretty good. So, you know, and they were cheap, so whatever. What else do we got? I have some stamps that are like words. I'm trying to make sure that I can see and you guys can see at the same time, and it's not easy. I used to be better at this. I don't know why I suck at this right now. I'm so sorry. And this is my jelly plate. I only got the 5x7 one because, like I said on one of the streams with the Gals on Ustream, I just don't have a whole lot of space. So doing something in a 5x7 size, and most of my journals are quite small, and if I was going to rip up the paper anyway, it seemed like a good idea. I haven't done any of the big mono printing yet, and as long as I don't go into it, it won't really be a big deal. So that's that level. I'm going to try. Sitting on the floor will be bad because I won't be able to get up, but that's why I have a service dog. Well, one of the reasons anyway. Hi, Sirius. You can't get in the way, though. No, you have to go. You have to go. You can't get in my lap. I love you, but no. So down here, I have all things that would go on a mixed media canvas in a larger size. So this doesn't technically count because this is basically stuff. Why don't I open it and show you? If I can open it one-handed. Siri, hush. So opening it one-handed, you have die cuts. I have die cuts from Tim Holtz. The what do you call it? The People. He's gonna settle there now. I have the paper dolls that he just released, and I have flowers and stuff. So die cuts go in there. And aside from that, I have the sheets of deli paper that I use. They're 5x7, so they go with my jelly printing stuff. I have the collage napkin things by Jane Davenport. They are just napkins, but she calls them collage papers because it sounds fancier. And you don't want to use them on your face because they will bleed on you. So, yeah. I have my Speedball little roller thing. I forget what we call that, but y'all know what it is, so it doesn't matter. I have glass beads. Again, for, you know, mixing with mediums and stuff like that. These are mini beads. They have a life of their own, so be very careful when you open these things, the micro beads. They're pretty evil, but they were all so cheap. See how they have a life of their own? The static up here alone, let alone static in general. The static up at 7,000 feet is insane. So I have glass glitter, which is very thick because I have this fear of glitter or anything getting in my eyes. So this stuff is very thick and it will drop instead of going all over the place. And I have these gems and stuff to color. See, this is in my lap again. I have these gems. They're from Amazon. They were like $4 or something, and Premier will sell you 15 of them for $5. So yeah, I have, what is that, 200 I think they said, if not more. I got that. So yeah, I mean, they're all from China. They're all the same quality, and the only thing that it costs you, or the only thing you have to do if you want them colored, is drop some alcohol ink on them or color them with any kind of medium that you possibly have. It'll pretty much stick on there, like paint will stick on there. And these are the same thing. These are just hearts. I think these might have been a little bit more expensive, but not much. And this is gold leafing, or silver leafing rather. And that's real silver in a leaf form, so that you can rub it onto things. Like if you put down that embossing powder that's glue instead of embossing powder and rub this on it, the silver will stick. And I've got metal embellishment. These are all like keys and stuff. I have shells. And basically just a whole bunch of things that you could possibly put on a canvas. These are transparency sheets from Tim Holtz. I just wrapped them up with a hair tie because I didn't have anything else. There's those, yeah, well, you should run then. Serious. These are the tissue paper that Tim Holtz does, the tissue wrap from Ideology. I have a couple of those. And all of this came from Amazon over a couple years that I got into mixed media because I can't, you know, I've got nowhere to buy anything. So it was just what I could manage to get. And so this is my art cart, and anything that doesn't fit on the art cart can't be art. So, excuse me, that was gross. And these are my gelatos. Most of these were donated by my friend who used to buy the individual ones, and she ended up with duplicates. So I got a bunch of those from her. I think the bigger ones were ones I bought, but aside from that, those were donated from her. And then I've got some colorful baby wipes that are waiting to be made into flowers, and I can't zip this up right now, so I'll zip it up later. And I'm going to have to pause you, otherwise I'll get really sick when I try and get up. Alright, more coughing and a drink later. I am back sitting in my chair, and then this is the way that I actually craft, the direction that I face, and then if you look here, this is where you're usually mounted when you're looking at my desk, so the camera points down that way. And then this is about where you can see. On the desk I have, as recommended by Marami Small Art on YouTube, is one of those mats that you put under your desk, or under your desk chair rather, to help it move on solid ground. And it turns out these things don't stain. They don't take mediums, they don't take paint, they don't take anything, honestly. And it really doesn't like the white, I'm sorry. It's got autofocus and it doesn't like the creamy white. So Anyway, the point is they don't stain or anything, and so you can use your desk as a pallet if you want. And so that's why I got that. I just cut it down to the 4 feet that it needed to be, and the 2 feet back, because I think that's the problem. Is it was like, we cut a good amount off it, I forget, but it's still got the curved front of it that I had. And I pretty much threw every medium I have on it, and I haven't gotten it to stain. The only thing it doesn't like is heat, because it's just plastic. It's not heat stable. It's not like the Ranger mat or anything. But the point is, I don't have to use that mat anymore. If I use something with heat, I just move it. And I didn't show you guys this yet. This is my Hogwarts cup from when we went to Universal Studios Orlando in 2013 for our 10-year anniversary. So now you know how long I've been married. We went there, and we went to Disney World as well for a honeymoon. We didn't get to have one when we were first married because I was 19 and he was 24, and we just didn't have any money. So yeah, and this I just got last week for a bunch of my different paintbrushes, some of which I bought, some of which I already had, but that way they get to be over there, and the TARDIS is cute, so there you go. It's more of an actual call box because it doesn't have anything officially Doctor Who, but it looks Doctor Who, so, because, you know, call boxes were real, so it's kind of Doctor Who and it's kind of just real. But anyway, below that is my desk where I keep my phone in there because it's just safer there. And below that is where I keep all of my distress inks. This is, what do they have? 64 colors? Something like that. I forget. It's all the colors of distress ink, whatever, how many that is. Except for the black. I don't have the black. I have hickory smoke, but I don't have the actual black. And this is the light for my Tim Holtz Stella light, which I really do like. It has a bunch, you can see me do the different things. It has a bunch of, you see the light change a little. It has a bunch of modes, and it can go, you know, all the different colors, and it's LED, so it's not hot. You know, one of the problems with cystic fibrosis is we're coughing all the time, so I get very hot, and I spike fevers all the time, so working under hot lights is not good for me. Very bad for Aeryn. So it was very nice. Both of my lights are LED, so there's no heat there. And these are my alcohol inks. I have to wear a mask when I use those. The same with the magicals that I just got, because I can't handle chemicals. Half of the time I have to wear a mask now with my Copics. My magnifier light, this one here, it has a magnifier under it if you want to see. See if you lift it up like that. It has a magnifier lens. You won't be able to see through it on the camera, I don't think. But it really helps a lot not having to be down on things, because I used to just hunch over stuff. Like, you know, I was 15 again and my back didn't hurt. But my back does hurt, and I also can't be that close to chemicals. So the alcohol ink from the Copics, which Mike can't smell anything. I can smell things because I'm alcohol sensitive. But normal people can smell these because these are really stinky. And these are the Adirondack alcohol inks, or the Ranger, whatever they're calling them now. They have new labels, Tim Holtz alcohol inks. But yeah, they've got all the labels on them because, you know, don't breathe them. You can get them on your skin, but don't breathe them. Don't spray them so that you can breathe them, stuff like that. And so yeah, I have to wear a mask with those. I also have some of the pads in there. I have some Daniel Smith watercolors and some... What's the other one? I have some Winsor & Newton, not the Cotman, but the artist quality ones, which it will not focus on. Blah. Anyway, those are the good quality ones. I have some of those for my little travel palette. I'll show you that later. I have the shakers of the magicals because, again, I was afraid to breathe them, and I was afraid they would get knocked over, and you've seen how much I've coughed while I was editing this video. So imagine how much I cough normally. And I was afraid that if I opened one of those little palettes or those little pots of things, that I would cough in an inopportune time, and poof, it would go everywhere. You know it would happen. You can say that it wouldn't, but it would happen. So once they finally came out with the little shaker that you can just, and then done, and even if it was open, like, you're not gonna cough through that tiny little opening. So I said, okay, I'll get them, and they dry permanent. I have tested them. I haven't played with them properly, which is why you haven't seen a video. But yeah, I have tested them and they dry permanent, so that makes me very happy. And I'm going to stop saying, I swear, eventually I will remember. This is my washi drawer. I have mini washies, and they are set into 2 different embroidery floss containers. I just ripped the top off, literally. It was quite vicious. You know, parents, hide your children. It was a vicious ripping off of the tops because I didn't need the tops, and they wouldn't close anyway with these things in there. But they make the perfect organizing thing, and most of these were bought at Scrapbook Expo with the, you know, the huge discounts that K & Company does. Almost all of that is K & Company, and there's some paper tray ink ribbon from way back in the day. That's about all the ribbon I have, so, you know, it's not very big a deal. These are all the stickles that I have, so my stickles live in this little case there. And all of these can come out. There's space behind it, but there's not actually space behind it. Some of them there isn't. Yeah, see? Some of them will move and some of them won't. But, yeah, all of those can come out and sit on my desk if they have to, like if I'm using them a whole lot. My camera's telling me I'm shaking it. I'm sorry. This is all of my cardstock. Recently this year, the beginning of this year, I forget if you watched on my Instagram, maybe you can tell me. I cut down all of my cardstock because I just wasn't using it. I don't really enjoy making cards. I never did. I just kind of made them because that was something to do with my stamps after I had colored them. But since I do coloring books most of the time now, and it's not that I want to abandon my stamps, because I certainly don't. But I never really had a whole lot of people to give my cards to. I used to give them to the Operation Ride Home, but that doesn't, that's not in operation anymore. So I just had all these cards that would stick around for a year or 2 or 3 until I got tired of storing them, and then I'd tip them in the bin and start over. And that's very wasteful, and it was kind of boring, so I figured, you know, I'll just not do that anymore. And so this is if I happen to need a card, if I want to cut something out or anything like that, if I want to test something, that's where I can just get these papers from, and hopefully eventually they will get used up, and if not, they're really pretty, and maybe some other person will need them in the future. So that's what I did with that. This is all of the remaining Project Life cards that I have. What I did was I sorted them from the kits into things by color. I had grand ideas that I was going to go back from the time that Mike and I got together in 2001 and do sort of a retroactive thing, find photos as much as I could and all of that stuff, and then like, you know, put them in the sleeves and at least do milestones, right? But my memory is so bad that, you know, that's why I started scrapbooking in the first place. But my memory is so bad that I just couldn't remember most of the stuff, and Mike doesn't have time to sit with me and say, this is what we did, and this is how we did it, and blah, blah, blah. That it seemed stupid to try and hold on hope for, you know, that this project would get done when it wasn't going to get done. So I just kind of let it go. And, you know, it sucks because I don't have those memories personally, but, you know, there's not much I can do about it. So what I did was I broke apart those kits that they were, you know, Project Life kits, and I sorted them by color so that when I do scrapbook, if I do scrapbook those memories, or if I scrapbook, you know, current memories or whatever, I have journaling cards or phrase cards or whatever, and you can see me in many videos going through these cards that have been organized by color and just trying to find something that will go on the page. So it's a good collection, and like I said, as long as I have room for something, if it's being used, then it can stay. But if it's not being used, then it's kind of got to go. If I have something else that needs to go in that space. So, these are all my sprays. The Distress sprays are more recent, and so they haven't been used a whole ton yet, but I really like them. Sorry. And these ones I just got on Wednesday, so I haven't used them yet. And these ones are, I've got some Dina Wakley Media paints. They're heavy body acrylic, and I really like this quality of artist paint and everything, but it does dry plasticky because it is artist quality. So I have the fine line tips on them so that I can write, do dots, do all of that kind of stuff. So I have them more for accents than I do for painting. And in here I've got the Hydrus Fine Art Watercolors by Dr. P.H. Martins, and those I got because they are indeed light fast. And some of the work, see if you look on here, it says light fast. it will not focus, but trust me, it's there. But yeah, some of the work that I do, you can see it up on the wall. Both of the ones, these ones are a couple years old, and I'm talking couple, like 2. The one up here, that's not supposed to be pink. In the original, it's purple, but it's pink now, because guess what? Ranger products are not light fast in any way, and it's only ever been in this room. It used to be over here, but it's only ever been in this room. There is no sun here, there's no nothing. It never gets sun shown on it, and it's still faded. And again, this here, all of that top was dark purple, and it's not anymore. It's pink, because they're not light fast, and it's not light fast to the point where it can't sit in a room with light. So yeah, and these are not light, you know, they're not sunlight bulbs, they're LED bulbs, so it's not like, well, they're not even bulbs, they're LEDs. So it's not like this was sitting outside or anything. It's just Ranger products in general are not light fast, and if you want to hang anything up, you know, or anything like that, unless you're putting it in a box or something, you want to use light fast products. So that's why I got these, so that I have light fast watercolors. I also have light fast India ink, which are really great to make sprays out of. If you want to make a really super vibrant spray that is light fast and won't go anywhere, these Bombay inks are great. So I have all of those, and that's what lives in there. This is Glossy Accents and a fine liner. See, it's this Glossy Accents right there. And yeah, these are my dilutions. I don't use them anymore because, you know, they have betrayed me. So they have disappointed me for the last time. And yeah, they pretty much wrecked most of my artwork that I've ever made with them, because you know, unless you're putting them in the journal. If you put them in the journal, they're perfectly fine. But that's not what I got them for. I personally did not buy them to be in the journal. So unless I transfer them over to my journal, they're just kind of sitting here unused. So yeah, I make sure that I use the inks from now on. I mean, that is a super bright orange color. So if you want super bright and light fast, there you go, India ink. And like I said, you can make sprays out of it. You can it's water soluble until it dries, so you can add water to it and give it fluid and all of that stuff. And then these ones are always water fluid, because they're, you know, that's their job. They're watercolors. So yeah, that's why I own more fine art products than I do craft products, I would say, because I get frustrated. And down here is kind of my throwaway drawer. I don't go into here a whole lot. These are the bigger punches that don't fit in the other one. A lot of them are border or edge punches. So I use them a lot when I scrapbooked, but I don't scrapbook as much anymore, so they don't get used a whole lot. That's a bunch of extra bags from the kit clubs. This is my Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolors, and those get to live in there. I don't use them a ton, but they are, you know, they are a good product, so they get to sit in there. I don't know if they're light fast. They might. Do they have stars on them? That's what those stars are, people. If you don't know what those little stars are on things, that's light fast. And the more stars, the more light fast they are. Let's see. I do not see any easily explainable stars. I see a lot of things in Japanese I cannot read. So, I may have Japanese written on me, but I told them what to write. So, I know what it says. And, yeah, I can't read any of that. So, I don't know if they're light fast, but they are pretty good.